Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're going to talk about something really powerful, a framework for lining up your inner world, your thoughts and feelings, with your outer reality. It's all about something called the inner work and the Coherent Nexus.
So let's just start with a question, okay? Have you ever felt like you were, your own biggest obstacle? You know that feeling where your own thoughts or emotions, maybe some patterns you're not even aware of, are just holding you back from what you really want to do?
Well, the framework we're looking at today suggests the secret to unlocking all that potential isn't about, just grinding harder or pushing against the world. Nope. It's actually about creating this powerful, smooth connection between what's going on inside you and how you perform on the outside.
Okay, so what's the end game? What are we aiming for? It's a state that the sources we're looking at call coherence. And really, that's just a fancy way of saying you're in an optimal state of being. You're firing on all cylinders.
But what does that feel like? What does it mean? Well, coherence is when your thoughts, your emotions, and even your body, they're all on the same team. They're all pulling in the same direction. Imagine that. It's about creating this incredible, powerful flow in literally everything you do.
All right, to get to that state, we're going to need a map. And this map has two key landmarks we need to understand. And they work hand in hand, the coherent nexus and the inner work.
So first up, let's talk about the destination on our map. That's the Coherent Nexus. Just think of it as the state you're aiming for. This kind of inner field that's totally free from conflict. It's you interacting with the world in a really powerful way.
And the inner work? Well, if the nexus is the destination, the inner work is the journey itself. It's the actual, hands-on process you go through to reach coherence. We're talking about integrating all those fragmented parts of yourself. You've probably heard terms like the inner child or the shadow, and bringing them all together to create that inner harmony.
So here's the key takeaway, the thing to really get. The inner work is the path. It's the how. The coherent nexus is the destination, the what. One's the process, the other is the awesome result. Simple as that.
Okay, that's the theory. But let's get practical. How do you actually do this stuff? How do you get started on the inner work to build that coherence?
Turns out, this whole framework is built on two super effective practices. First up, mindfulness and meditation. And look, this isn't just about chilling out. It's about actively turning down the volume on all that internal noise that causes so much conflict. And second, there's journaling. Think of it as your personal lab for analyzing the interface, that critical spot where your inner world bumps up against your outer actions. It helps you see patterns you'd otherwise totally miss.
And get this, the benefits don't just stop with you. When you get internally coherent, it can absolutely transform your relationships. Seriously, your empathy just goes through the roof. You start seeing conflicts not as these battles you have to win, but as, believe it or not, opportunities to reconnect and actually communicate proactively. This practice also goes right after something we all struggle with, procrastination, right? The idea here is that procrastination is usually just a symptom of something deeper. It's that inner unrest, that little voice saying, I can't do this. But when you resolve that inner conflict, the urge to put things off just fades away, and that's when you can get into that amazing state of flow. Okay, so you do the work, you stay consistent. What's the real payoff? What happens then? Well, as you can probably guess, the results can be absolutely transformative.
Let's put this in a visual. Before you start this journey, a massive chunk of your energy, your mental, your emotional energy, is probably tied up in a tug-of-war inside. You've got inner conflict, doubt, worry, and all that leaves very little fuel in the tank for creativity, for focus, for being at your best. But now look what happens. As you start to resolve those internal battles, all that energy that was locked up, it gets freed. It doesn't just disappear, it gets rerouted, and it goes directly into fueling your creative flow, sharpening your focus, and letting you perform at a level you might not have thought possible.
This state of coherence, it's like creating the perfect soil for innovation to grow. With less mental chatter, your focus becomes laser sharp. Your energy gets poured right into your creative projects. And you start solving problems not just on the surface, but at a really deep, systemic level.
And this leads to a really wild, really powerful idea from the source material. It's called morphic resonance. Okay, check this out. The theory is that when you master something in this coherent state, your mastery literally radiates outwards. It's like you create a learning field around you that actually makes it easier for other people to pick up that same skill. How cool is that? So, we're going to leave you with a final thought to chew on. After everything we've talked about today,
What is the one inner pattern, that one belief you have that might be holding you back? And what if you could start to reframe it, like right now?